Let's start reassembling these 1911 45s. We're going to start with the one that we detail stripped. That's what they call taking a lot of the small parts off. Removing the slide, taking all the slide components apart, that's just called field stripping. Pulling a lot of small parts off that we pulled off down here, that's known as detailed stripping. And we're going to put this back together. It takes a lot of patience. A lot of time. You may have to do things multiple times to get them to work because putting together is much harder than taking things apart. So let's start with this piece right here. There's two pieces. The disconnector and the sear, I believe they're called. And we're going to put these back together. This is how they came out. And even when I was cleaning them, I was careful to put them back in the proper position. And to really understand how this works, you want to take a close look at where the hole goes through, because you want to make sure that when you put it together, you can put that pin through there. This is the pin that we're going to use, and you can see that if it's just sitting there, the pin doesn't go through. It's got to be elevated slightly and roughly in that position. Okay, so let's stop talking and get to it. First thing I'm going to do is put this back in. Make sure that the trigger is pushed all the way forward. If it's out, push it forward. And slide this in this hole here, and you can see it. Okay, so that's about where it should be. And you can see it come out the top of the slide. Now I need to put this piece roughly where it's going to go. And now the hard part is to get this pin through. This pin is, one side is got a little lip on it, and that's going to go through the right side. And we need to figure out how to get that in there. So the hole is not lining up right now. So I'm going to take this sharp edge and just play with this a little bit. Okay, I lifted it up and it went in. Now it's got to go all the way across. I got really lucky there. Now when you push it in, the little flat part goes flat to the side of the frame. And it's in. I'm rarely that lucky. The next thing we'll do is we'll put in the hammer. That is going to go line up with that hole there, and we're going to use this pin that also has a flat edge on one side that will mate into the frame. We'll put that in there like that, and I can just kind of eyeball it until I see the holes line up. And I'm going to slide the pin from the back. Now that's in, and that goes nice and flat. Okay, I want to keep this piece out. The next thing I'm going to put in is this spring. This little lip here that's folded in is going to fit right in this slot. And then it goes like that. So the way that it sits up here on the left side, the middle is doing the disconnector, and the right side will be used for the grip safety. Now to keep this in place, I'm going to hold it there with my other finger, or maybe my thumb, and I'm going to slide in the mainspring housing right about to there. Lower that down and let it in there a little bit. Now I've got to line this up so that it hits the mainspring housing just right. There's a little cup in there at the top of the plunger that fits right into. But when I do that, I have to have the grip safety put in. So I'm going to line the grip safety up with this hole here. And once it's lined up, I can slide the mainspring housing into place. Now temporarily, I'm going to take this pin with one side has got a little indentation and one side is nice and round. I'll take the round side and put it in there about halfway. That'll hold it while it's got pressure on it. Because as soon as I cock this hammer, there's the half cock, there's the full cock. As soon as I cock that, there's a lot of pressure put on that mainspring. And now I'm going to line the grip safety up so that the hole is open. And I'm going to take the thumb safety and just stick it in there like that. Now before I do that, this little plunger on a spring, I'm going to push in so it's as far in as possible. Okay, so that's in there. And now I'm going to press that spring from the back while I just push that down. Okay. Oh, I missed the mainspring. How did I missed the grip safety. How did I do that? Well, no worries. Just take it apart again and do it again. Slide that in. Make sure that the grip safety is lined up with the hole. Well, that's how I did it. I missed it. Put that in the hole. And now I'm going to press that little pin in as I lower the thumb safety. Okay, and that's in. So now it's all back together, except I've got to finish that pin. And to finish that pin, I'm just going to hold it in my hand, take this rubber mallet, and give it a smack. There it goes. Now it's in nice and flush. And this is all back together. Let's check it out. So I can release the hammer very carefully. I'm going to pull it back and pull the trigger. I'm not touching the grip safety, so it will not fire. I'm going to put the safety on, touch the grip safety, it still will not fire. Now with the safety off, what I'm going to do is rock the hammer back to push the grip safety down and then slowly release the hammer. That's how you release the hammer on a 45. There's no manual, there's no automatic hammer release. If you want to release the hammer and do it one-handed, the best thing to do is to pull the hammer back so it depresses the slide, the grip safety, and then release it. Okay, so it looks like I've got it back together correctly. And now that it's back together, we'll continue putting these guns together. I'm going to move on to the 45 from 1942, and let's put that one together. Okay, so I got to put all the slide parts together. First thing I'll do, put the firing pin back in. And all of these parts have a nice light coat of oil on them because I cleaned them and then I put a little bit of oil on them. Put in the extractor. So the extractor is facing this way, and that'll make it line up properly here. And then I take this piece, slide it in as far as it'll go, and then I need this little punch. Whoops. So push the firing pin down with that little punch until I can slide that block in. And once I slide it in, it clicks home. So that's all back together. Looks correct. There's the extractor. There's the firing pin. It's good to go. Okay, next I will take the barrel, and I want to point out this little swivel on this barrel. When we get this all put together, what's going to happen is this slide stop is going to go through this hole, and it's also going to go through this little swivel. So when we put it together, we've got to make sure we can get this slide stop pin through that little swivel. Okay. So I'm going to put the barrel in till it locks up with the locking lugs. Put that piece in, and then slide that in as well. Okay, so that's back together. Now I'm just going to slide this frame in there like that. I have the hammer back while I'm doing this to make it a lot easier. Now I need to make sure that I kind of wiggle it until that little swivel is in the correct position. And I can test that with my little punch here. I can put that little punch in there and hold it. And now if I take the slide backward, the barrel stays where it's supposed to, because it's being held by that pin. Okay, so without changing that position, I'm going to put the slide stop in, and now I have to back up the slide. There's the first notch that's used to hold the slide to the rear, and the second notch is for reassembly. So now that that second notch is lined up, I can push the slide stop in there, and I'm almost done. The last thing I have to do, put on this little plunger. First, I will take the barrel bushing. Remember that when you put on the barrel, took off the barrel bushing, one position allowed you to take out the spring. Another position allowed you to take off the barrel bushing. So now I've got the barrel bushing locked into place, and I can slide that down and just hold it and slide the bushing back into place. Now it is 100% back together. So let's test ourselves here, make sure that it's back together properly. We're going to take a snap cap, stick it in the magazine, put in the magazine, pull the slide back, let it go. It will not fire with the grip safety not depressed. It will not fire with the thumb safety on, and it will fire with the grip safety depressed. Now I have to make sure that it ejects properly, so I'm just going to take it and pull the slide back as hard as I can and see what happens. It locked back like it's supposed to, and it ejected the round perfectly. So I can say that this weapon is ready to go. And you see how I used that technique there. I want to lower the hammer. I rock it backwards to depress the grip safety, and then slowly let it go forward. All right, let's move on to the next gun. Now we're back to the Colt Series 70. And this one is the only difference between the 1942 made 1911 A1 were these little fingers on this barrel bushing. Otherwise, all the parts are interchangeable between both guns. So I'm going to put the barrel in first. Put the bushing down so it goes into the channel, and then slide it all the way around. Rotate it around so I'm ready to put the other parts in. I'll also put in the extractor. That's in there properly. The firing pin. I have the same process. I lower the firing pin, hold it in place. It will slip off a few times when you're doing this and send the firing pin shooting up into the ceiling. Get that position just right, and then it clicks back home. I did the order a little different here because it doesn't really matter. Okay, this one I'm going to put this end that's a little bit cleaner onto this piece. It holds nice and tight. And the other end is just going in the bushing, so it's not quite as important. So the last thing that's a little tricky about this assembly is I do have that swivel, and I've got to make sure it lines up properly . Okay, that has it right there. I'm pretty sure that I can see the swivel in there. So I'm going to put that in place. Move the second notch in place for reassembly. And this one's a little tougher. So the little knobs kind of sticks out. So I'm just going to depress that a little bit as I put the slide stop in place. All right, the last thing to do, press on the bushing. Putting a little pressure on the slide makes it go easier. I can rotate it in place so it's just sitting on that little lip, and then take it the rest of the way. And now we're good to go. I will add the grips back on. These are the original wooden grips that came with the pistol. A lot of people like to put on a Packmeyer style, which is like a rubber type of grip that wraps around so the front is covered and a little tacky, makes it easier to grip with the rubber. All right, so now we're basically done, and we'll run it through the same test. So we'll take our snap cap that's somewhere on the other side of the room after ejecting it from the other 45. Load it into our magazine. I'll do this one a little different. I'll lock the slide to the rear by pressing up on this while I pull it back. And now I will release the slide stop. If your hands are a little small, you can turn it in like a 45-degree angle so you can get your thumb on that slide stop. Let it go, and we'll do the same test. With the grip safety not pressed, it doesn't fire. With the grip safety pressed but the thumb safety on, it doesn't fire. With both the safeties taken care of, it does fire. And then let's make sure it ejects. Perfect. So I can close this. It's very tempting to just hit the slide stop and let this slide go home. That's called slingshotting. And a lot of people claim that it damages the 45 over time. So I will pull the slide back slightly, release the magazine or the slide stop, and let it go home slowly. Okay, so that one is done. And we'll bring on the next one. This is the Smith & Wesson 1911. This one's a little different from both of the previous ones. First of all, the extractor did not come out. So when we cleaned it, we had to just scrub it with a toothbrush inside there to get it all clean. So what we're putting back in is strictly the firing pin. And this one works a little different. It's got another feature here. This little post that is pushed in when the slide is closed allows the firing pin to move. So I'm going to hold that in when I put in the firing pin. Now it goes in pretty far. I can push it in farther. Now I'm going to let that out, and you see the firing pin doesn't shoot out on this one because of that little pin. So now to put this in, I can push the firing pin down, but I can't push it enough. I have to actually push this pin in, and there goes the firing pin shooting across the room. Let me go retrieve that. This is kind of annoying. So let's try this again. We're going to hold this down while we put the firing pin in a little ways. So I'm actually going to set it down to do this because it's a little bit tricky. Okay, so I've got that in place, and now I'm going to slide this block where it needs to go, and it's together. All right, a little bit annoying, but not too bad. And this extra little safety here on the firing pin is going to be slightly annoying when we put the slide back on too. It makes it a little harder to position the slide. So let's get to that. We're going to put the barrel in. You have to put that piece in without the spring. Take the more closed end over that rod. And now that's in properly. And I'm going to take the barrel bushing, put it in so it's facing to the left first, and then rotate it. So now it's in a position where I can put that plunger back on. And the same situation applies where I have to get the hole in that little swivel lined up with the hole in the frame. And sometimes it goes in real smooth, sometimes not. So let's try to line this up. It's a little bit harder. I have to make sure that this is pushed in and that little post is depressed on the slide, and I'm almost there, but for some reason it's not going any farther. I've got like an extra 1/8 of an inch to go, and it's not going, and I'm not sure why. It's definitely something on the slide. I'm going to take the barrel bushing out. I think it's the swivel here. That swivel is not coming down, so I'm going to push it down myself and then put the slide back in. And now I am good to go. So I believe that is lined up properly. I'll bring the slide back down so that little indentation is set properly. Put in the slide stop and close it up. Now we're good to go. So I will put the bushing back on over on the right side, and then rotate it to the left side. Now I'm going to put this back on, and this, because this is different, it doesn't have a flat spot, it's just got this ring to allow that pin to go through. It's a little harder to hold down, so I'm going to use what I did to take it apart. I'm going to use this cleaning brush and just hold it down with that. Get the bushing back in place, and now we're good to go. So we'll do the same little test. We'll take our magazine, put a bullet in, squeeze it with no pressure on the grip safety, it won't fire. Put on the thumb safety, it still won't fire. Both safeties taken care of, it does fire. And I'm going to pull that hammer back to make it a little easier to pull the slide back, because a lot of stuff in here is a little heavier than the other ones. And see if it ejects. It did. It didn't eject as good as I would have liked, because I think I didn't pull it hard enough. So I'm going to put the bullet into the pipe, into the chamber, release that, which is one way that you can fire this. In fact, there's even a warning. Caution, capable of firing with magazine removed. A lot of modern guns, you have to have the magazine in place or it won't fire. The 45, you can leave one in the chamber while you're changing magazines and it will still fire, which I think is a good idea. Anyway, let me see if I can get it to eject better. Nope. It's either too slippery or I don't have any strength in my hands whatsoever. Put it back in there and we'll try it one more time. Not great. Well, that's okay. So that one is done. The last thing I want to do is release the hammer. Now, because this is kind of curved up to keep the hammer away from biting you, that's handy and all, but it makes it harder to release the hammer. When you go to pull it backwards, you can't really do it. So I'm going to just hold in the grip safety and release it that way. It's the only limitation of having this fancy curve here. Anyway, it's done. They're all done. Hope you've enjoyed it.